No, I don't. I think that midterm elections are a separate entity. They are a scorecard on the first 2 years of a president. But often what happens is the president's party does very badly, which is going to happen this Tuesday. The Republicans are going to do very well. But after that, things change. The dynamic changes, and the president will have a foil to blame things on, the Republican Congress or the Republican House of Representatives. And I would think Obama will adjust himself, as Bill Clinton did after the same thing happened in 1994, and move to the center and push the Republicans way over to the right. Because here, and I'm sure it's the same in Great Britain, you win your elections in the center. You have to get the vast group of voters in the middle of the political spectrum. They're not conservative, they're not liberal, they're self-described independents of neither party. And whoever wins them wins an election. And Obama had them in 2008. He's lost them terribly since then. After Tuesday, he has another chance, George, to go back and win them again.
Interesting. How bad is it going to be on Tuesday?
It's going to be one of the epic elections, I would think. For the House of Representatives, we Republicans, we need 39 seats to take back control. Everybody, and I mean everybody, has concluded that they will get more than 39, maybe as many as 60 or 70. But I feel more comfortable saying 50 probably, but they're going to do very well. And then in the Senate, we would need 10 pickups of Democratic seats to take control. And that is a stretch because a couple of them have gone Democrat in the last week. I think the Republicans will probably pick up 7 or 8. There's a chance they get to 10, but I doubt it. But that's still a big, big rebuke of
on governorships.
They're going to win a lot of governorships and state legislatures, too. I mean, we're not going to win all of them that we could have won. But New York, for instance, where I am, the Democrats are going to do well because the Republicans have nominated a complete idiot to run for governor.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that because that seems to be a pattern in several places, that the most extreme elements have won the Republican primaries.
Well, what's happened is, you're right, and not everywhere, but in a lot of places, this Tea Party movement, and it's good that we're talking in England because, after the Stamp Act was passed, there was the Boston Tea Party, which was the American colonists said enough of this taxation without representation, went down to Boston Harbor and dumped a whole bunch of tea off of a British ship into Boston Harbor as a protest, and that was known as the Boston Tea Party. Here we are 250 years later, and these groups have adopted the same name, the Tea Party. It does not mean a political party, because it's not. It's a movement, a protest movement, and it has gone into Republican primaries since last spring, taken on the Republican establishment, George, and in almost every race they have defeated incumbent Republican governors and senators. And in effect, they're taking over the Republican Party machinery, and they are moving the party to the right on fiscal issues. They're sick of the big spending that Bush did and that Obama's doing, that a Republican Congress did, and now a Democratic Congress. And this thing has a lot of traction. It also has some extremist nutballs involved in it, too. But most of the Tea Party people are middle-of-the-road Americans who are furious that our two major political parties have ruined this country. That's the way they look at it. We're bankrupt.
Now, on the subject of nutters, and this will have to be my last question, though I could talk to you all night. I'm just looking on the television now at Sarah Palin. A one-way ticket to Timbuktu would probably be the only safe place on the planet if she became the President of the United States. Is that looking more likely that she'll be the Republican nominee?
Well, George, I tell you what, let's talk for a second, and then we really ought to do a whole show on this thing, because to me, this is what is inevitable after November 2nd, that Sarah Palin or one of her acolytes as a Tea Party person is going to run for president in a year and a half in the Republican presidential primaries. And there's going to be a wicked civil war between that person, the Tea Party candidate, and the Republican establishment. And the establishment will be fighting hard not to have the party taken over by a Sarah Palin or a Sarah Palin clone. And in that fight is Barack Obama's opportunity not only to get reelected, but to paint the Republicans as a crazy party of a bunch of wacky nuts who you can't trust the country to. And that's the direction we are headed in. Palin has a lot of strength, but she's unelectable, and she divides the right, and therefore the country will not accept her. But in the meantime, she's very popular. She gets a lot of coverage. You're watching her right now on TV. There's no other Republican who wants to run for president who you ever see on TV.
No, that's a fact. John, we're going to have to continue this on another occasion, and I'm going to drop you a note over the weekend about my U.S. plans. As John LeBoutillier, former Republican congressman, author, and absolute sage on the American political scene. I'll be back after this.